This meeting is being recorded.
Huh? Hi everyone, good morning.
Yeah. Hi, Anna. How's it going?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, sure.
Let's wait a few minutes.
Yeah. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Please let me know in the chat box if you can hear me. We will start about now, and others will join us. Okay, thank you so much for joining in. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for sparing this few minutes we'll be having here with me and the team at Scenario Academy. And we usually do this every month, transition into tech. And this month's topic is a guide to having a successful tech career. A guide to having a successful tech career. Um, Quick check-in. Ensure you are seated in a quiet place. Ensure you have a good network so that we could have like a smooth conversation and you could listen in on our conversation with our guest. You have a jotter and pen close to you so that you could jot a few things because there will be a lot of valuable insight you get and you can always like revisit. So yeah, how are you feeling today? You can let me know in the comment section. Use any emoji of your choice. Let me know. Let me know. Oh, cool. Abdul Azak say cool. Yeah. Any other person? Cool, cool, cool. If you are not happy, it's going to reflect in our conversations today. So ensure that you are happy, you're feeling good, hope you're enjoying the weekend. Um, you're enjoying the weekend. Outros before we start with the session. Kindly read through. Kindly mute yourself when not speaking. Turn on your video if you can. I would love us to turn on our videos. If you are in a good place for you to turn on your video, for us to have a smooth conversation. Please be respectful toward others. And by joining this session, you agree that you can be recorded. This webinar is being recorded so that you could have the recording later. And if you like to speak, can you use use the raise hand feature or just text in the chat box that you want to raise your hand. And yeah, my name is Adibari. I'm the digital marketing lead for Scenario Academy. And yeah, one fun fact about me, I've not taken soda since 2019. Yeah. So yeah, you can do well to introduce yourself in the chat box, your name, your occupation, location, fun facts, and your expectations, from the webinar. Let me know. I will try to read a few. I say do an introduction. We are Senior Academy. We're an expert-led community. We've been in business since 2019, and what we do is we help individuals and organizations leverage analytics for career and business success. You need data, you need to know your numbers, for you to have success in your business or even your career. So here we help you to like leverage your needs by teaching you how. We have experience faculty, we have our instructors from all over the world, and we've trained so many people like First Bank, Chrysalis Capital, Green Africa, Same Lab, and so many others. Yes, and as an academy, we run an online class, and we're one of the best, really. But we'll go back to that um, later. So I would like to introduce our guest, Simileoluwa Kafaru. I absolutely love your name so much. Like I like calling it a fool. Yeah, Simileoluwa Kafaru, and he's a data scientist. Simileoluwa is a data scientist with over half a decade of experience working in edtech consulting and currently in finance and banking, where he leverages his expertise in data science expertise for business growth through descriptive and predictive decision engines, fraud detection, growth analysis, and customer behavior analysis. You see, our guys is the go-to, in having, in helping us to know the guide to having a successful tech career. So yeah, let's make welcome Simileoluwa. Can you
Hi. Thanks for the introduction, Dubai.
thank thank you
Hello,
so
everyone. Great to be here. Thanks for taking out for sucking the for for making me work on the weekend. But
so
yeah,
sorry.
um, yeah. Always, always want to give back to the community and all. So yeah, great to be here, and I hope everybody picks up a thing or two that can help them years down the line um in the tech career. Yep.
Okay. I would like to spotlight you. Mm, yeah, Abdullah, thank you for turning on your video. Yeah. Oh,
Well, my video is turned on.
no, yeah, I can see that. So yeah, let's get started. I'm highly happy to be having this conversation with you, and thank you for taking our time. So first off, I'd like to ask you, what inspired you to be to the world of tech, and then specifically data? That's from being a data analytics to being a data scientist. Why not something else? Why data analytics? Why data? What's the
Uh
story?
yeah, well, I don't think there was much of a story. Let's just say that I was in a community or I had friends um who were pretty diverse, where I had academicians as friends. Some of my friends, some of them are currently like different parts of the world, right? Some of them doing their PhD, some of them done with their masters, working with government and also. But I also have like friends who are deeply into tech, right? I have friends uh uh who own startups, co-founders of startups. So early days was more or less like trying our hands on different things, right? So I tried my hands on different things, advocacy, tried my hands on design, graphics design, tried my hands on front end, back end, tried my hands on GIS, your spatial stuff, tried my hands on technical, right? So let's just say data is the one thing that clicked the most. It just seemed like the one thing that worked for me, right? So you could see that I explored like different landscapes while I was in school. So school was a beta ground for me to explore different things and learn and find the things that I don't want to do, things I want to do, right? So yeah. But ultimately, I settled at data, right? Also because I had a friend who's currently out, um, was one of the probably one of the top leaders of data. He was an undergrad, right? But he was one of the loudest voice or the major voices in data. That was the early days of like the data science wave, 2016, 2017. So yeah, attended
What's his
one of the
name?
sessions and yeah, Dennis,
Okay.
right? So I mean, so you could just say I tried my hands on different things based because I was, always I was with people who did all of those things, right? So just had to ultimately find my way.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing all of this. You see that it's okay as a young adult to try so many things and find which works or which you enjoy the most, and see that from your journey you are able to try different things. Okay, this is not for me. Okay, and you have people around you that could support you and suggest things to you.
Oh
And
yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
really
Yeah.
good. So that means you are telling a young adult that you can always try again, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely right. I think one of the interesting things tech affords you is the ability to try your hands on different things, not necessarily because you fail. Sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
fail at them or you suck at them, but that's what we call transfer learning, right? That is whatever you learn on
Yeah.
one is transferable to the others. So yeah, absolutely. If you do design today, tomorrow you can decide, oh, I want to do PM or I want to, for example, even in the data space, I've worked across the lens of data, right? There's barely anything you want to talk about that I don't have an idea of. So at each point I've had to like reinvent myself. So it's more of finding what you want, what resonates with you, and can get you to where you're going to. However, also know that on the journey, you definitely need to reinvent yourself. So I'm constantly reinventing myself across what it means to be a data professional. So 2 years ago, being a data scientist for me would mean building out machine learning models or doing this writing of fancy code. But the data science for me right now is less of coding. In fact, I don't think I've written any major code in a while. I work with just SQL, right? But it's more of driving business value. So I know what the numbers say. I know how I've helped the organization grow for projects. So right now for me, it's more of growth, which is why on LinkedIn you see that I put something like finance and economics,
Yeah.
which where the reinvention has taken me to. So, for example, last month I completed a finance course with one of the leading consulting firms in in the finance space and economic space in Nigeria, right? So, constantly reinventing yourself, right? So, at the early phases, you don't have to do one thing, right? You can try your hand. It can be simultaneous. It can be concurrent. Right? So, yeah.
Wow, that's so good. So please know that no skill you learn is useless. You could always transfer it. Just imagine because maybe you have an experience, you've tried your hands on design. The way you will present your data will be different from someone that hasn't tried his or her hand on, on design. And
Yeah.
those things really, really matter. They add up, right? Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So
Okay.
before I ask what's growth like for you, like what skills do you think someone that is interested in data analytics have to have? And not
Mm,
just about the technical skills, but the soft skills.
mm. Well, I think for the early stages right now, when you look at the data landscape, let's talk about it locally, right? Your local
Okay.
skill set would probably be Excel, Power BI, and SQL. If you can add a bit of coding, maybe Python or R, right? That's great. So those are like the baseline skills. On your soft skills, you probably need to be a good communicator, right? You need to learn communication. And I say learn communication because you would think that is something that some people are born. Yeah, some people are born to be oral, but it's learnable, right? It's something I did learn how to speak. I did learn how to communicate. I learned how to write. I learned how to do all of those things, right? There's a bunch of videos that shows you how to speak, how to learn, how to communicate, right? So communication skills are great, especially if you start interviewing, right? You need to show that you're proficient in communication, right? So you need to be able to convey your thought process properly. The other things you want to do is you need to be able to manage yourself, right? Nobody wants to micromanage. There are organizations that micromanage you, but most organizations don't have that time. They don't have that bandwidth. So I'd say, being able to manage yourself, right? You need to be managerial, not managing other people now, but managing yourself
Yes.
effectively, right? So those are the things that you need. But how do you then acquire them? Well, technology skills, which is why you have organizations like Scenario Academy, right? Organizers of this, who can train you on that. There are tons of resources. I just think bottom line, if you want to learn, you can start learning right away, right? As long as you have back with your smartphone, right? So you start learning as soon as you want to learn. All right, so baseline skills, Excel, but you have to you eventually like branch out into other things. But those are like the baseline skills I'd expect. I'll typically expect when I'm recruiting for a data role.
Okay, thank you so much. It's interesting to see that I've had conversation about transition into tech, and when I delve into like soft skills, communication is always the first. And from someone that is not into data analysis, they'll be like, oh, why do I need to, why do I need that communication skills? I'm not an host, I'm not in the media, I don't need those skills. But I've seen this consistently play out. Why is this very necessary to have the communication skills as a data analyst? You're giving that, oh,
Yeah.
when you're trying to like sell yourself during an interview, and probably you want to like talk to stakeholders. But why is it one of like that's the first thing everyone says? Why is this so important?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty easy, right? Communication is about being able to sell yourself, right, or what you have, right? It's about being able to convey a thought process articulately, you know. Um, think of every day the people who are at the top or at the helm of any affairs that you know, right? They are good communicators. It doesn't matter whether they don't talk often or think of anybody, any entrepreneur that you can think of that's at the top of their field. It's important. So it means that if you want to get to some certain growth level, right, you need communication. There is no leader of a multinational and stuff who is not a communicator, a good communicator. It's one of the criteria that makes you a team lead, right? You can't hide behind the back and say you're a team lead. No,
Yeah,
you have to speak, you have to convey your thoughts to investors, to stakeholders, to management, to the people you're building products for. But much more for data. Data, what do you do with data? Well, you're communicating stuff, right? For an app, a software engineer, the only people who need to really communicate in the team are the project managers, right? So, you know, but most data applications or most data products that you build, you don't need a PM for that. Organizations that have PMs, then the PMs can do the presentation and you can say, oh, okay, I don't need to like. But for data roles, you barely do PMs. You don't need peer project manager for that. You're the one who builds it or the team builds it, and then you present. Whoever builds the report gets to present it, right? So what are you presenting, right? For engineers, they're not presenting codes, the front end that they build or back end, whatever they build, right? The solution they build, PMs, the people,
yeah,
the project managers or the product managers are the ones who present the functionalities. But for data, right, you're communicating inside. It's very different, right? What you're communicating is immediate value, right? An immediate point. Something, if I'm still looking at a dashboard, if I'm looking at an app, I know that he does something, right?
yeah,
It allows me to connect, to maybe use my banking app, or it allows me to go on Twitter and stuff. For a data product, right, it tells me something. It informs me on something. So I need some sort of thought process that guides me into the usage of that product, right? So that's why you need communication. When you build a dashboard, you don't just publish and say, "Oh, that's it." Or when you build a machine learning model and then you churn out they need to know what this does. How does this happen? And part of communication does not necessarily have to be talking about it. In fact,
talking.
I some of the recent models that I built, I didn't have to. In fact, we put it in production. I did not have to present to a team or to anybody to say, "Oh, this." Everybody just got an email in their inbox, and they knew exactly what it was. Why? Because we are designed it. I designed it in a way that by looking at it, you understand what it does. Right? You
Yeah,
know the context. The entire user interface is designed around. Oh, okay. This is by in just a glance, you know what it does, right? So if you have a questions, but at a glance, so communication is not necessarily about being able to speak, right? And the thing is, people favor people who can communicate. Management favors people who can communicate, right? So, um, yeah, so those are things you need to consider, right? At the entry level, but you can survive not being able to communicate, but after maybe 3 4 years, you realize that you need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to convey your point. You need to learn how to convey your thought process.
yeah. Thank you so much for explaining that in detail. Communication is key. People wouldn't know what you have done or what you are doing if you do not communicate with them, if you do not state your point clearly. And you just need to be concise. You need to know how to articulate your words. If even though it's not spoken, it could be written. If you can't just show people your dashboard or your model without explaining it to them in detail. Okay, what does this mean? How does it, move? How does this help our business? How does this translate into the decisions we have to make? So because you're
Yeah.
data analyst doesn't mean that you have to just do your work and not show. You have to show and tell. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And
Yeah.
I would like to go back a bit to your journey, and because I'm really interested in the fact that you started this as a student and you had a lot of help because you have people around that were doing those things and you were able to like and I think that's the beauty of youthfulness, being able to try your things and answer so many things and learn and relearn and fail and stand up again. So
Yeah.
um did you have like um mentors or people that you were really looking up to as you grow as you journey? Because even as a student, how are you able to combine trying your hands on tech skills and being in school too? How were you able to maneuver that? How were you able to handle that process? And were there people that even till now you have people that you are looking up to like mentors? What's the place of mentorship in your journey, your tech career? How did they help you succeed?
Mm. Yeah. Well, so yeah, 1 second. Right. So let's see. Yeah, I did have mentors, right? My friend was my mentor. I had a mentor at the time, who kind of like who was the first person I had my internship with. But on the road to mentorship, you need to get some value. You need to make apparent the value that you can communicate. You can't just come. In fact, I do have like a boundary to mentor people in the sense of mentorship. I don't know if in Kano knows that his camera is on. All right. So, well, you need to acquire value or be able to communicate value to get mentorship. I have people that I give close mentorship, but if I don't see the value you're bringing to the table, right, I just drop you off. And so, yeah, you definitely need to mentor, right? But you need to bring something to the table, not because the mentor needs anything that you want, but to be able to ensure that, oh, mentoring you, I don't need to be following up with. I don't follow up with anybody I'm mentoring, right? I've had people that I've mentored for 2 years. I followed up with them maybe just 4 or 5 times, right, in that period. If you want to give me a feedback, great, give me a feedback. If you don't, nobody has that time to. So when people think about mentorship, you think it's somebody who would have told you. No, except I'm hiring you to work for me as an intern or something. That in that case, it's internship, not mentoring, right? So, it doesn't. So you need to acquire value first. Learn how to do the stuff. Not that, oh, well, I'm trying to learn it. When people tell me I'm trying to learn it, I need a mentor. I'm like, you don't need a mentor to start learning. You go on YouTube video and watch a motivational speech or some, and when people think about mentorship, they think, oh, somebody that will sit you out in a house, or sit you down and start feeding you the ABCs. And nah, you have to acquire value first. Go learn how to use Excel first. Learn how to use Power BI. You can't say you don't know how to use them, or you don't know where to start from if you've not checked on. In fact, that's one of the silliest excuses that you can give. Oh, I don't know where to start. Then you're not ready, right? Find out how to start. There are hundreds and thousands of videos on data science guy for 2024. Right? If you search that right now, you're gonna see hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos. Right? Pick one and follow that guide. Learn Excel for 3 months, for 6 months. Learn Power BI for 6 months. Once you get to a point, of an inflection point, you know whether you need a mentor or not. Not at the early phases, or when hey, I'm learning how to use text functions. I need somebody to mentor me. The idea of mentorship for people is free training, but the mentors are busy. I'm incredibly
Yeah.
busy, right? And I'm not saying that lightly. I am incredibly busy, right? So, I have people I mentored. Some of them are on full-time jobs. Some of them have, left the country. Some of them have or doing amazing stuff, but I don't follow up and say, hey, do this, do this. I probably have a call once in 3 months with you, and get your update if you have an update, or if I see something interesting, I'll send to you, right? That's how mentorship should be. The person's journey should inspire you more than an everyday communication with them. It means that you can manage yourself, right? It means that you can manage yourself. So mentors are great. Okay, for example, the first real data science mentor that I had, did you find? How did I get to know him? Well, it was on Twitter, and then I started following the future of work, and I saw what they were doing. I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. Can you allow me to do this for you guys? At first, he was reluctant because he said, oh well, we might not be able to pay you now. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. And he was like, oh, well, we're not able to pay you now, so we can't take in a mentor. And I was like, okay, no, voila. But I'm open to it. It doesn't matter whether you can pay me or not. I just want to like, okay, let me deliver value. Let me see, let me try my hands out on this thing. So a friend of mine who knows the guy, who knows, which is Dennis actually knew. So Dennis put in a word and said, hey, this guy is good. He's learned this. So he can actually start working. And you know what? Right when I was hired, the first week I started doing stuff, right? So I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what value I could bring to the table, seeing what they were doing, right? So it was easy for me to get on board, and I brought in a lot of value. And till today, myself, did you find, in fact, you know, I call him my mentor till today, right? Um, I mean, few nights ago, I think a couple of weeks ago, he texted me at midnight around late night. Normally, for any other person, I would not. But he said, "Oh, Simi, I need somebody to help me take a second look at this thing. I can't find what the problem was." And we jumped on the call. In like 10, 15 minutes, we were done. Right? That's what it's all about value. Get value.
Yeah.
Right? And if you want somebody to mentor you, you know what you need them to mentor you for. I have people who mentor me, and we don't talk about anything work or anything. We just talk. Hey, I just give them life updates. They don't ask me about work or business, being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. But they mentor me, right? I am still responsible to them. So that should be like an ideal sense of what mentorship should be.
So it's not just you being parasitic about your relationship with your mentor. You also
Oh
have to
yeah,
bring
it's
value to the
yeah,
table.
yeah. You value first, bring value first. And not because I need if you ask me to mentor you, I'm not going to. I'll probably just put you in a WhatsApp group with all the other mentors, right? I'm not going to start, oh, have you learned today? Have you learned tomorrow? Nobody has that. Nobody's going to do that. And that's the thing about tech, right? You either do it or don't do it. It's as simple as that.
Wow, that's so good. And that's why it's very important for you to be able to manage yourself first, based on what you said earlier. And that's
Yeah,
why
because
Scenario Academy, okay.
you want to
Continue,
do
please.
remote work. You want to do remote work, but you don't want to learn remotely. That's weird, right? You think you can handle remote work, but you can't handle remote learning. It doesn't, you can't manage, you want to manage not being seen at work, but you can't manage learning yourself to work. So those are hard truths that we need to, get acquainted with. I know that, yeah, what, go hard or go home. Right. Yeah, I need to put my mind to that. I need to do this. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Phew, this is some attribute that you've just spilled. You can't just be lackadaisical about you being a tech and being a tech. There's as much as there's so much money and value and recognition there, there's a lot of hard work, like hard work in there, and people are not like really willing to like do that hard work. Just want to jump into and having tech money. Tech money also has a lot of work to be done. And as you have said, if you are seeking mentorship, you need to bring value to the table. What have you done that you can say, oh, okay, I got stuck here. How can I, retrace my step, or what can I do better? And and I think we could also speak a little bit about networking, because you were able to be given a chance by the other guy that got to be in because of Dennis. He gave you a word. Do you want to speak a little bit about that? How can you
Sorry, could
be
you
in
say
that
that
kind of
again?
space? Can you hear me?
Yeah, could you say that again? I think I
Yes, I
missed some
said
bit.
that I would like you to speak a little bit about networking and being in
Yeah.
relationships, because if not
Uh
because of Dennis gave you like
mm.
spoke for you, you may not have been considered.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, networking, right? I'm not great at networking. I feel like I'm just lucky to know how to. to let my work speak for itself. But you need to put the work out there, right? One of the best things you can have is social media. You can have is social media validity, right? I have an intrinsic network, so it means that the people who reach out to me have to have seen my work or have heard about my work, and they just reach out. So um at the scale for you to, I feel like for you to like get to a very top part of your career, right? Um,
Yeah.
how best do I put it? Because I'm not great at networking in terms of like, oh, I go to an event and I start meeting people. I don't think I've ever done that. But what I do actually is that I try to know the right people. Value, right? Value is very important. A lot of the top guys in data right now in Nigeria, I probably know them or they probably know me. And how do I do that? Not because I go to an event or, but I just happen to know the right persons. And I think maybe how that would have been is from Digifan, it was easy for me to know David Abu because David Abu was Digifan's friend. And David Digifan in some way helped David Abu navigate data in some form. So I can't even remember how myself and David Abu got to know each other. In fact, at his wedding, we're talking about, I think, at his, bachelor's, we're talking about how did you meet David? I was like, bro, I can't remember how I met him, but I think that knowing, being active on social media is a form of networking. Being in a, I guess it's community, boils down to community. For you
Yeah.
to network, just be in a community, right? I think that I think about it, I think that's pretty much it. Being in a community and doing really good work, that the work speaks for itself. For example, um, if I content a certain process on Twitter, you can't tell me I don't know what I'm saying, right? If there's something that I've had to contend a few things, and I've you know, and during data first, the guys that I contended with in their front, they were like, okay, let's talk about this a bit. Right. So for you to network, it's all about being in a community. All you need to do is be in a community and then let your work speak. Put your work out there. Right. For example, if you search, I can tell you places I've written. You find my articles on Data Camp. I work with Udacity. I work with some private blogs. Right. So putting yourself out there for you to network, I think it's pretty easy. Just join a community. Find a way for your name to resonate with people in that
Yeah.
community, right? You would, and one of the easiest things is just be extremely good at what you do and put out really good products. But of course, you won't start from being the best. It doesn't matter. Put your work, whatever your effort is, whatever your best is, put it out there and let that grow. So networking for me has been about growth. I feel like the level of my network is proportional to the level of growth that I've
To
had,
close.
right? Um, Probably every month of this year, I've had at least two recruiters in my DM saying, "Oh, we're recruiting for blah blah," and I don't post on LinkedIn, right? If you check my LinkedIn, I barely
Yeah.
post. So you probably say 1 year, entire 1 year that every single month. In fact, there was one yesterday. We're trying to recruit for first bank. So I guess I've gotten the level of networking that I have is proportional to the level of growth, and that is healthy for me. So networking for some people might be, oh, social media growth and clout, as it were. That's great. It would be, I would love to have that, but I don't have the bandwidth. I don't enjoy doing that, right? Some people enjoy doing that. Some people have 30K followers, 10K followers. I have maybe about 2,000 followers, right? So I don't have that reach, but I do have reach at the same time because I've worked in the best of places because of like the quality of work that I have. So for networking, focus on community and focus on putting out your work and focus on putting out really good work. That would get you the networking that you need, to be honest. I think that would, you just need to do that. I've been doing that consistently since 2019. That's about 5 years, 6 years now. right? So it means at some point I just had to like reach that inflection point. For some people, it's for other reasons. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'll let's like say, um, your level of growth is similar to the kind of people you know and the networking. And for the average person, actually somebody that's just a young graduate or a graduate or working and have not got to the level you are, you've mentioned something really key, and that's being in communities. Communities will really help you grow. As much as you are doing very well, you're trying to be very good at what you do, you're learning, you need to put your work out there and join
Yeah.
communities that would propel you. Ensure that you are good and people know that you are good. And you can only
Hmm.
get that when you have put in the work, you have skilled up, and then you are showing your work. There's so many people that are out there that are really good, but they are not, nobody knows them. So that's why you
Hmm.
have to join communities, and that's what being in an academy like scenario helps you. Just imagine that you are really good in your class, like you do your assignments, you do your projects, you share them on social media, and your first community, the first people that would know you are your instructors and your colleagues, your fellow classmates. So that will stand you out. You may, if you even if you have to like pay to be in some communities, you know, the value is way beyond the payment. And I'm really glad that you're able to like come this far because of the people you know and the communities that you've built. And it's okay for you not to be a LinkedIn influencer
Yeah,
or
I think you can do a lot without being an influencer. I guess at some point it's a value, right? It's a currency, but it's not the
yeah.
only currency, right? It's a currency, it's a loud currency. I mean, again, I wish I had that, but I know how to get that, but I just don't have like the commitment. I'm too focused on doing like
Okay.
really the stuff that resonates with me than any other thing, So if you have it, great, fantastic. I love that for you. But if you don't, you're not limited in any way. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's okay for you to be seeming an introvert or you don't really want to like be an influencer as long as you are able to do things that move the needle, like you have quality work, like dedicate yourself to quality work, showing it out there and ensuring that it's out there. It's okay.
Mhm.
You don't have to post every day. You don't have to, even if you're not like a very social person. Like for example, you say you don't go for all these networking events, but in those one persons you meet at work or your mentors, you
Yeah.
add value. They see the value in you, so that helps because the best form of marketing is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like
Actually.
somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that can do this. So those community of people that you know, do they know what you're doing? Do they know that you are good at what you're doing? So I think that really resonates with me in so many ways. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. So like
Yeah.
you were a data analyst before you were you are now a data scientist. How
Yeah.
did okay before I ask that question, you mentioned something about even if you didn't say it that way, but you mean you have to be before you have. There's a state of being before having, and that's like you have to have value before you be able to like get money or get compensation for your value. So as a young adult, especially living in Nigeria, how do I balance like upskilling, learning skill and making the money? Actually for as a young adult, do you get my question? How do you balance
Mm.
it out? Because if it doesn't pay your bills, why go for it?
Well, I can't say that you start paying your bills right away. So if I get so um mm, so here's two things, right? It's not gonna start paying your bills yeah, right away, right? But it can, right? And much more, you know. In terms of balancing your time, I mean, I don't think balance is there. You just have to overdo some on some days and overdo another on some days. There were two days I was overworked with schoolwork, and there were days I was overworked with learning. As to balance, balance would be which do you want more? you know. But it
Hmm.
also there are also different things that might guide. For example, the only reason my final year, I was in fact I already saw myself as a data analyst than an undergrad. So undergrad was a side hustle for me, right? I just went to classes when I could, or if I could, and when. But I had a good CGPA. I had a 4.1 some. I don't know what my last result was. I didn't check. I didn't. I don't have, and I never saw it. All I know is I got the result. I just asked, "Hey, did I pass?" Yeah, that was it. That was all I heard. So I don't know what it was, but a 4.1 something, something around 4.2 something. I don't know, but something around that. Isha has a 4, but in final year I already had a 4 point something. So there was no, I was not trying to get the first class. I just had it. But if you're maybe in a third class and you see that, oh, I don't have any hope again, then there's no point stressing yourself with too much school. You know what to focus on. If you
Yeah.
can cross to the other side, then great, go for it. It just means that you probably work harder than every other person you know. So for me, I was always in school. I was always in night class. I was coding. I was not reading. The final year, I was not reading, except I was working on my project, which required me to code. That was interesting part of my project. Something that required me to code, right? So that was it. Right? Any other thing was a side was it was a side quest, right? So all my energy, I don't think balance really exists. You just need to create, might be a 70-30, but a 50-50, I think we're built for extremities. So depends on how much you want it, right? And but don't let your schoolwork suffer. I'm a big fan of going to school and getting your degree. And I've never had to really use it. I just submit it. They don't ask me. I've interviewed with really big companies. None of them have ever asked, what did you graduate with? In fact, it seems like a question nobody's really interested in asking anymore.
Nobody.
For tech people, I don't know for finance people and all that, but maybe because it's a tech bubble, it's a space, the niche that I'm in. But nobody has asked me in a very, very long time what I graduated with. NYC, I went for NYC when I was ready, so I just did that as a side quest too, so um if whatever you really want, I feel like you find a way and the universe will just align with your interests, but it doesn't have to be a do or die, do or this or that. It can be a this and this, but the ratio would probably be a 70-30 and 80-20. Mine was an 80-20. I just needed to pass all my
Yeah.
papers and I was good.
Good to go. Thank you so much for saying that. Ooh, so school is not scam, but if you know you want to be in tech, focus more on that. And so I also want to like ask that what's that one or many achievements you're really proud of as a data scientist? Like something that you did and you're glad you did
Hmm.
that. That I did that.
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe the peak would be making money for the company, right? Oh
Okay.
yeah, some problems that either saves the company money, reduces risk, or makes money for the company. Those are the things that I back to when if you're interviewing me, I'm not gonna talk in terms of, oh, I used SQL to do this, and that if I'm interviewing for that at this stage, I feel like that's like I'm interviewing for a mid-level role, but I'm not mid-level, right? I'm senior level, crossing to management at the very least, right? So my communication is in terms of value, not in terms of, believe it or not, that I can do the technical expertise. That's on you, right? In fact, so I'm more like, if I'm going to move to a new company, it has to be a company where I can interface with the value part and provide value. So my biggest point would be saving the company money, because I work with a credit facility, fintech. So there's a lot of fraud issues, and but saving the company money. We're talking about hundreds of millions of naira or billions of naira here. Making the company money. We're talking about hundreds of millions of naira here, billions of naira. And I can see the growth because I work with the numbers. So I can tell you, oh, before we joined, this was the numbers, and this is
Yeah.
what we told, so I interact with all teams. I interact with finance, I interact with the strategy team, I interact with the collections team, with the marketing team, to the engineering team. I interact with everybody. So I tell them, hey, oh, the marketing team is trying to roll out a campaign. I'm the first to critique it. I'm like, okay, well, do you think this is worth it? And I give numbers and I back it. I understand the customers. I know. So I'm involved in a lot of things that. So if I'm active, we give ourselves in the data team a target. We say, okay, well, we want to get the company to this. This is how we intend to do this along the efforts of all the other teams, right? So and we go for it. So that's the interesting bit of where I'm at now. That's why I enjoy what I'm doing right now.
Thank you so much. And I just want to just tell the everyone listening that be so good that nobody doubts your skills, but
Yeah.
you're able to show that value. Now you're at that stage where people don't have to ask you, can you use Python? Can you work with Excel? No, it's okay. These skills that you have, how can it save us money or increase our revenue? And I think that's even the essence of data analytics or in data. You guys work with numbers. You work with numbers, and you know, okay, let's make a decision because of this number that we have. Okay, this is what our books say. This is what our analysis. This was in our insights. So I think for a data analyst, an analyst is the value. How
Yeah.
can this company use this data, this insight, what I have derived, this okay, how can it save them money or increase their revenue? And I'm really glad that in the work you do, you're able to like do that for the company. So
Yeah.
I would like to ask that was how is a day in your life like? Actually, not now, when you were upcoming, when you were a data analyst, so that people can resonate with
Day
that
in
at this
life
stage.
was learning all day.
You are muted, or I can't seem to hear you.
Can you hear me? Can every other person hear
Are you
me?
speaking?
Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me? So um, you might
I
need to
can't
check.
seem to hear you.
Uh,
Maybe it's from my head. Can anybody hear him? Hello?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. I think it's from my
Uh,
end. Okay, please
cool.
continue.
Day in the life. Honestly, it was just learn, experiment, learn the hard things, learn the simple things, read, watch YouTube videos. So it was just learning, right? Expect that in the early days, your learning will be all over the place. But as you grow, your learning will converge, right? That is, it gets better. You learn how to learn, right? That's one of the things tech does for you. So I think for me it was just I woke up, learned, I was always schooling all day. Probably like half of the time I was awake through the day, I was learning something. So that was it for me. But some of us we have 9 to 5. So again, depends on
Yeah.
how bad you want it. I've seen people transition, so it depends on how bad you want it. When you get back from work and stuff like that. Um, you know, if you want it, you go after. It doesn't matter how. I'm still, again, I'm incredibly busy, but I'm always learning at the same time. Till now, I'm still learning. I'm learning how to do this. I'm learning how to do that. Um, sorry, 1 second. Uh, I'm learning how to do this. I'm learning how to do that. So, immerse yourself in it. Enjoy the process. Uh,
So learning never ends.
yeah. So the learning never ends. uh it just keeps going. So again, it depends on how bad you want it. I know a lot of people say, oh, but I have to go to work and this. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I totally understand. But if you want it, you go after it. I've seen people transition from like the craziest. Seen people still transition for oil rig workers who were oil rig workers. and they
Wow.
transitioned into like they're not even with their peers, but when they come back from the session, did it constantly for like 2 years and then finally got a job. So um if you want it, you get it. You just need to throw yourself at it. Don't be careful to like pay forward pretty much. Yeah.
Wow. So learning never ends, and it's okay for you to combine your learning with work or with school or whatever the case may be. And that's why at scenario we help you. If it's weekends you have off, sacrifice that party of that owambe for your learning, because it pays off at the end of the day, right? So yeah, and your learning never stops. In fact, you have to keep learning so that you will not be irrelevant. I think that's what I'm looking for, irrelevant. So you mentioned that you still learn, you learn how to learn. How do you keep up with trends? And okay, maybe I should ask that. What's the place of AI in data analytics? Is it a threat? Is it a companion? What's the thought
Oh yeah,
about that?
until you get to um what you call GAI, General Artificial Intelligence, you're fine, right? It can only aid your work. So two things: organizations will downsize, but they will not cut off roles. You can't cut off a data role. If you like use data, data is too random. It is too dynamic to play around with that way. If any organization is saying they want to replace their data team with, then they don't know what they're doing. They've never had a data team to start with. So I think you're fine. You just need to learn how to use it effectively. We're integrating AI. I use AI every single day, right? So these days, there you even see prompt engineering in my resume, right? Prompt engineering, how to use these AI tools and understanding how they work, how to, as a data scientist, you need to learn how to build solutions that can work with this, right? So it's all about collaboration right now, right? So if you can learn how to effectively collaborate with AI tools, you'll be at the top of your game.
Okay. So AI is not a threat to your work. Don't worry, you can learn data analytics. You can, be in the world of data. It's not a threat. It's just to help, to aid, to elevate your work, and make your work easier. So how do you keep up with trends into what's new in the world of data? How do you do that? Even as much as you are very busy, how do you stay relevant?
Yeah. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, staying relevant. Join the community, read videos, read articles. That's how you stay relevant. Sign up to blogs, watch videos, and it's not hard to stay relevant. Just subscribe to maybe Medium or Analytics Video on any of these platforms, and you're good, right? So I think that's pretty much it. It's not hard to stay relevant, right? It's not hard to stay relevant. Sorry, could you please give me a second or a minute here? Yeah, if you
Okay,
have
no
any
problem.
questions, you can just, but I have a hard stop in about 10 minutes, right? I need to,
Okay, that's fine. That's
yeah,
fine.
sorry.
So yeah, if heard from him that you need to stay relevant, you need to keep learning, and that's why you need community so that you will not get lost in the model. Scenario Academy is structured in a way that even after your training, you are kept in community to give you latest trends, latest insights, job opportunities, and you're able to leverage the people you've met either online or physical class. Just imagine you're in the online class, you have access to global, you know, classmates. So you're able to like leverage that community, you engage with them. And even the physical, some people are either working, some are not working. You're able to like network there, and nobody will look at it in any way because if both of all of you are learning together. So there's just this um one step ahead above others. So yeah, I think that's really, really good. So yeah, I think the final question before we have questions I would like to ask you is what's that advice you give someone that wants to be a data analyst? Like your candid advice. What's that thing you tell
Uh,
that person?
well, pretty easy, right? It takes time. I know a lot of people do data because they think it's easy. Um, yeah, at a level it is, but I think at a level if you um let me look for the best way to put it. I know a lot of people tend to learn data because they think it's a quick win. While that might be true a while back, I don't think it necessarily is. So you have to be better. Whatever makes you better, you'll find that out on the way. So you have to be better than every other person in the pool. I think if you learn to a point, you know exactly what you need to do to get better, right? So yeah, just keep learning. It takes time, right? That's what I tell everybody. It takes time. By I know you've been learning for 2, 3, 4 months, you can apply for a job, but it takes time, right? So just keep learning, keep putting your job stuff out there. You never know what works. I can't tell you this is one thing that worked for me. I was writing, I was building projects, stuff. I was doing everything that I thought could give me an advantage, right? And that was what helped. Every single one of those things helped me at some point too. Just it takes time. So play the long game, play the long term game. I know people who did it for 2 months and then they gave up, and then people who did it for 6 months and they it worked for them, right? So if you want it to work for you, you need to give it time. It takes time, right? So um Nkanu said to become a data analyst, must I learn? Well, you can't learn all of this at the same time. You need to learn it concurrently, right? Oh, sorry, one at a time, right? So you learn whatever it is you learn first, maybe Excel first, and then a SQL, and then whatever comes after. So you don't take everything up at the same time.
Okay. So then I think the advice you gave, it's cut across every industry or every job role or anybody. Even if you want to learn how to make clothes, it takes time and you have to keep learning. You have to keep reinventing yourself. Yeah. And I think you've answered the question about need to learn everything. Yes, you have to learn them one by. Could you dwell a little bit more on that? But because I think Excel, SQL, Power BI, or Tableau, they perform different functions and they are interwoven in a way. Would you please shed more light on that? Please ask
Sorry,
your questions
could
a
you
little
say that
bit up.
again?
I said, you mentioned that would you like to like explain a little bit more about Excel, SQL, and Power BI or Tableau because
Well, I don't think that's
you
those are details that I necessarily want to like delve into what they do or what they do not do. I expect that if you're on the call, you can easily find that out. Those are things that you can easily watch a YouTube video and But again, I mean, if you're asking me what Excel does, I think that's not a question I want to probably answer. I feel like if you're in this call, you should be able to, do that or learn that, or a team
the
can
person is
provide
asking, can
assistance.
you specialize in just one?
Okay. No, you can't, right? I'm not going to hire for a data analyst who just does Excel and then hire somebody else who does SQL, right? That's the equivalent of hiring a bricklayer or hiring a carpenter who can only cut wood but doesn't know how to punch in the nails, or who doesn't know how to polish. Nobody does that, right? So you need to have a knowledge of all this, right?
So yeah, thank you so much. You've learned from him, and I'm really glad that you're able to share this with us. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to have you here, even in your busy schedule. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
the time.
thanks for having me. So apologies, I've had to have a hard stop as much as I would love to continue. Yeah,
It's
just
fine.
sadly it's a very, very busy day for me. So but yeah, hopefully, some other time. If you want to reach out to me, I think the team can send help. I can connect with me on LinkedIn. Um, you know, um, If
Simileoluwa
that's my
Kafaru, you can check him out on
yeah,
LinkedIn.
and or you can connect with me on Twitter and yeah. But thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you for
Wá
honoring our
fún
invite.
wá lọ sí báńkì ẹ tí wàá bá
Bye.
ń bẹ̀ tí ò gẹ̀ẹ́tì ààrẹ
Yeah. Thanks
tó wá ní
everyone.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, thank you all for joining. If you still have questions, I'm here. You can check him at Simileoluwa Kafaru. You should find him. He's on LinkedIn, very active on LinkedIn and Twitter. So yeah, Kafaru, Simileoluwa Kafaru. Yeah, you can check him out on that. So if you have more questions, please let me know. We are here to guide you into your journey into data analytics, and you've learned that you need communication skills, you need mentorship, you need communities, I think. And that's why you should always learn from an academy than going online to just learn on online platforms, because there are some questions you will not be able to ask. There's some structured learning that it will not afford to, as much as, and you don't even have too much. You will not suffer from knowledge overload. We are learning this, but in an academy there's a structured learning, there's a step-by-step process. You can see that, oh, you need to learn them concurrently, but not at the same time. And at Scenario Academy, when you come in as a beginner, first learn Excel, and you're giving projects, you're giving assignments on that. Then you learn SQL, then you are giving assignments, you're giving projects on that. So you even do group projects. In the midst of you doing group projects, you are connected with other people in your class, either online or physical, because we also have like an online class. Yeah. And then you are able to like go into Power BI. So instead of you learning all the old tools, we specify on those three tools. Those are the major things you need to learn. And you have group projects, you have personal projects, you know, that helps you to even have that portfolio when you are searching for a job or when you are interviewing for a job. You're able to communicate the kind of projects you've done, the kind of data sets you've worked on, the kind of analysis you've done. You're able to like communicate that. And it's in a structured learning. There are timelines, there are deadlines to it. So it helps you, and that's why I really encourage you to. And I was one of the things that I'm really glad that we have are very good instructors, and they're very passionate about their job. It's not just about the money for them. You are able to like learn, reach out to them even after the training. We even offer internship for like 2 months. We can give you reference, and that's if you are good. When you finish, your assignment you put it, you don't just leave and not attend classes. And yeah, if you're too busy or if you're not in Lagos, because our office is at a Ikeja, you can learn it on our online class. And our online class is like as good as our physical class. Because now we notice that we even have students from all over the world: UK, Switzerland, New Zealand, Australia. Just imagine you are in classes with people that are in all these places, UK, and you're able to connect with them. You're able to excel. Imagine you are they're team lead. You're able to communicate with them. Okay, keep them on introduction, on your assignments. These are the these are the communities you're able to build that you would have ordinarily have had if you were not in Scenario Academy. You do have that if you just go and learn online. And we help you with share opportunities. We even teach you soft skills, because you've heard that communication is really important. Like, communication is not the thing. You have to be able to communicate your ideas. You have to be able to like sell yourself to people. And in the group project presentation and in conversation in class, you're able to like learn that. So yeah, that's our competitive advantage. You also get reference. You can give you reference, because people want to know if they can trust you with their data. You can always give you reference. Also have alumni mixture. So let me know. I would want to see if you are question. Oh, okay. Sorry. And in our class, you have lifetime recording. You also have certificates This is so 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 good. We have a class going on right now. It started today. Our online and physical class starts today. Yeah, and you can still join. You can still join. Um, Today will be like orientation, installation of softwares, and getting to learn. So if you are interested, you can join, and we'll have subsequent cohorts. Right, the data analysis online is 100,000 naira. But you get a discount if you pay at once. You can get like up to like 15% discount. So it's for, in fact, it's not even 8 week. It's for 8 weekends, right? 4:30 to 7 p.m. Just get your time, and you get the recordings immediately so that you could like learn, if or you can even rewatch the recordings for the next class, and you can interact with you have access to your instructors and see WhatsApp group with you. You can send them a message, send them an email. You can do that. And our physical class is for 9 weekends, 9 Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it's a full day affair where you learn. There are even breaks. In fact, we even give free lunch, we give coffee so that you can learn, very well. There's water, there's snacks for you to like take so that you can immerse yourself in learning. Just imagine you dedicate your 9 Saturdays to that 9 to 5, and you do your assignments during the week before the next class. You can't tell me that you're gonna be as really really good, when you put your heart to it. So it's 200K. We also get like 50% discount. So if you pay at once, then we also have the 2 weeks where you can take a leave from work or from school during the holiday and say, oh, I want to learn for 2 weeks back to back, back to back. That's 9 to 5 p.m. For 2 weeks, we drill you, we, help you learn as much as you can. This will really, really help you. And it starts April 29th, so you can join that. You can take leave from work to join. And we have Python for data science. So that is if you already have like period knowledge in data analytics, you have a little bit of a bit of Excel. So this is a perfect for people that have gone through our data analytics class and you want to like further. So this is for 8 weekend and it's just online, right? 4:30 to 7 p.m. is 100K. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know. We are at on 27 Amores Street, off to Street, Keja, Lagos. We are on social media. You can check us out at Senior Academy underscore NG on Instagram. On X, we're Scenario Academy, and LinkedIn Scenario Academy on Facebook. So you can please follow us. Follow us on social media and check us out. Please let me know if you have questions or concerns. So if you get anything at all, let me know. Thank you so much for joining. I would love if you guys can, leave a feedback, and thank you. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye bye. 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 Thank you.